big hello and a very warm welcome to Brand Equity with me, Sonali Krishna. Well, it's December and we thought let's look at a category and a space which is close to all our hearts. My today's guest is a very special guest. At 25, he was a shoe salesman. At 26, he was a restaurant owner. And over his career, which spans across 2 decades, he is now the owner of 65 restaurants across about 20 cities. It's none other than RiyaazAmlani, founder and managing director, Impresario, handmade restaurants, and his crown jewel, of course, which all of us know is social. Thank you so much, Riyaaz, for joining us right here on the show.
Thank you so much, Sonali, for such a warm welcome.
Well, you are a guest like no other, simply because of how you started and what you've become. That's why you've been truly named the disruptor of the restaurant business, and you've managed to give a dining experience to several target groups and age groups across India. But I'm glad you've joined us in December, where people are looking to go out, get their hair loose and enjoy the holiday season. I want to start with, social, which is, of course, your crown jewel. Launched in 2014, and I believe now, come 21st, you're launching your 50th outlet in India. So many congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I've always found the restaurant business fascinating because, you see so many brands and other categories that are born and their staying power is so much longer. But for restaurants in particular, our office is housed in Kamla Mills, giving you just such a micro example. You see these lovely, glamorous boards and restaurants that come up. And, give it a few months and, they're gone and something new comes up. So obviously that staying power of restaurants, the F&B business is very hard. How have you managed with somebody who actually has no real experience in the restaurant space when you started to have managed to create such a formidable brand in social and continuing to grow?
Well, it is a tough business. Statistically, the numbers don't look very promising. There's a lot of talk about 90% mortality about the restaurant industry, especially in the West. 90% don't survive more than 5 years. However, I think I think it takes a lot of enthusiasm to set up a restaurant, and it takes a little experience to run it, and and you should not let either get dimmed by the other. Sometimes experience can be a very poor substitute for enthusiasm. India has been evolving. The last 2 decades or so, we've seen the rise of Indian consumerism for the first time. The Indian consumer has just started revealing himself, herself in the market. The consumption story is growing. We have a very young population. We have a phenomenal demographic dividend, so to speak, and 64% of India is in the working age, in the consumption age. So it's really been a great time and a great ride, and we're lucky to be at the right time, right place to take advantage of the phenomenal opportunities available in India right now.
Yeah, I have a few repartees that I'd like to throw at you. You call it a demographic dividend. I'd like to argue that it might be a demographic liability, but that's for another discussion. But yeah, having said that, 50 social outlets. You've also stated your ambition of adding about 150 outlets, making it to 200 by about 2028. In the next 3 to 4 years, you're looking at least 100 outlets in total for social. And, as is out there and has been researched that every social takes about 24 months to break even. When you were launching social and you launched social, when people talk to you about non-metros and the tier 2 story at that point in time in 2014, you had made a statement saying that they've not evolved as much. I'm assuming cut to 2023, the story is, vastly different. Give me a sense of what you're sensing in terms of what's happening in non-metros and tier 2 cities in terms of just the kind of consumption power, behavior, and what's the story going forward?
Wow. Okay. So yes, in 2014, India was at a very different stage of its consumer behavior journey. We saw a maximum amount of consumption happening, most amount of disposable income, most amount of professional double income households only being in metros or state capitals. Since 2014, things have changed. India has always had disposable income, but did it have the consumption mindset, especially when it came to restaurants, was a little lower. Right? First of all, we didn't have choice. The lifestyle hadn't caught up in the tier 2 cities. There's always somebody at home who'll make a meal for you. It's never that there was never somebody at home who wouldn't be able to give you a home cooked meal, and you better have a good reason to not come home and eat that home cooked meal, right? And it was kind of going out was viewed as a decadence or as indulgence, or it was only done on special occasions to celebrate. But I think that all has changed. And in 2014, urban India was consuming, I think 8 times a month. Cut to 2022, we've seen urban India consuming at least having 20 meals originating out of home. And we still have a lot of headroom. For example, Singapore has 70 meals out of home every month. And
India is at 20.
And India is only and urban India, I'm talking about metros. Very urban, like metros, state capitals, that's at around 20 right now.
Not bad.
It's not bad. We've come a long way, lot more to go. And there have been several factors influencing this. I think the proliferation of social media has created a kind of a unique culture when it comes to lifestyle and aspirations. They've normalized going out and being with friends. I think there has been reverse migration post-COVID, where people had come into towns to work in these big IT firms and big companies, so Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, and then when COVID happened, they went back to work from home. They carried back the same aspiration with them. They carried back the same disposable income because they were working from home. They built up a lot of disposable income. Social media coming together. So all of these factors and the growth of disposable income, the rise, the phenomenal rise of households which earn 10 lakhs and above in the last 10 years or so has been phenomenal. And we are seeing tier 2 markets where there's a lot of aspiration, a lot of disposable income available. Those are actually outperforming our metro stores.
Really?
Yeah, in some cases, yes. So, and of course, the options are fewer.
Yeah.
And the demand is greater.
But I'm assuming that, outlets that you have, let's say in tier 2 or non-metros, would be a lot more effective in terms of profitability because your rentals would be far cheaper.
They're not that different actually, to be honest. Yeah. So, I think if you kind of map India the way they are right now, you've got 100 or so marquee high street locations in India. Right? If you take 8 in Bombay and 12 in NCR and 10 in Bangalore and 5 in Calcutta. So you accumulate this. But there are also these interesting kind of micro communities opening up. And as traffic opens up and these kind of housing developments and locations and offices continue to proliferate. If you just look at what's happened to NCR and the growth in Gurgaon and in Noida, and the way Bangalore is exploding and the way Hyderabad is exploding, there are these new marquee locations being created all the time. So this is a very exciting time to be in India and Bharat, both.
But you've not answered the question on what was that magic potion that you realized very early on in your career to ensure that the outlets have the stickability. Like I told you, right? And you said that the mortality rate in a restaurant business is so high. What is it that you have done which is keeping it still popular, in vogue, and people are still coming to hang there?
Well, when we started off, we were very, very clear that we wanted a concept that would kind of straddle many different kind of outlets. It would be relevant in a Bandra, but also work in a Bhiwandi. And we wanted to be able to kind of have that kind of a vast appeal. And we also looked for commonalities between our population, right? We all love cricket, we all love Bollywood, we all love our Indian chatpata khana. We like it spicy, we like it saucy, we like it cheesy, we like it extra mazedar, So, and we like value for money, we like great service, We like to be entertained. We are looking for a big bang for our buck. So we kind of, and being in this industry, by 2014, I've already been in the industry for 16 years or so, and observed it from near and far. And we kind of knew what people were looking for. People wanted spaces to hang out, but they didn't necessarily only want a croissant and a coffee. They wanted
like you had in Mocha.
They wanted a butter chicken and a biryani, and or they wanted a beer and a burger, right? And they wanted choice, and they wanted it fresh, and they wanted options, and they wanted a place where they could go in the morning and they could feel a sense of community. And I think social was, I think because we were so deeply entrenched in the business, we could see a big gap that was emerging, and we were there to plug it.
So you've talked about, the nuances of being hyper-local, and that's been very key to the value system of social. And you just said, I wanted something to work in Bandra and Bhiwandi. How does that work? Are you suggesting that or your target group or, different people of different age groups are homogeneous in their behavior, location neutral?
No, I would, I think India is a market without, any kind of precedence. It's very diverse, and yet it has some amazing commonalities. And we are there to exploit that in a way. So while there are certain things about social which are common to all, but like what we call the soul of social, which is, great service, great value, comfort food, done in a quirky way. But at the same time, we are also cognizant of the hyper-local nuances that we have. So we don't have standardized recipes. We change our recipes based on the palates of a particular region. We have local heroes which we take from the areas that we go into. Our localization celebrates the pin code that we are in. So while we do have a lot of commonalities, we also kind of understand that particular location that we are in, and we celebrate that location. So lots of our stories, our design, it all stems from hyper-local. And we love the pin codes that we are in, and we celebrate the pin codes. So if you work in a particular pin code, or you live in a particular pin code, or you visit a particular pin code, we want social to be there for you. It's your community space. It's a place where you'll meet like-minded people. You go have a good time. You can go any time of the day and be guaranteed that you will get a great place to hang, good music, good food, and great service.
Riyaaz, coming to the economics of food, right? Obviously, you've cracked the code of India's changing palate, but when you talk about the F&B and the food economy, how different and how much more difficult is it, if at all, when you juxtapose it with other industries?
It's not a business for the faint-hearted, for sure. We are one of the most regulated businesses. We do need a litany of licenses and no certificates, and we do face certain challenges with real estate prices being that high, and purchasing power parity being low. But we do have certain advantages of the Indian market which are unique to us. The fact that we have an abundance of skilled labor available for us, while it is going to be a challenge, like 1 out of 4 jobs in the world will be done by an Indian, because 1 out of 4 people in the world is, in the working population, is an Indian.
I just want to stop you there. I have an adjoinder. When you say that we have the staff, I was also under the impression that talent and retention of talent is one of the biggest challenges in your industry.
Yes, so retention of staff is a challenge. Indian talent is in huge demand all over the world, not just, and especially hospitality talent, because it's customer facing. They are in demand from the travel and tourism industry, they are in demand from the retail industry. So yes, there is a challenge in retaining your staff, but on the other side, there's also a great funnel available to you. So to skill somebody to work in the hospitality industry is not that difficult.
Okay.
In the hospitality industry there's a bridge between the blue collar and the white collar in many ways, and it's easy to skill somebody to be in the hospitality business. And I think that there's a certain sense of hospitality which is innate in our culture. Atiti Deva Bhava is very much prevalent. So I think the aptitude is there, the attitude is right. We just have to skill them to perform. So we have a school where we kind of work with people in local areas, get them on board, skill them, and take them to the next level. And we keep them engaged, and we promise them a career in hospitality, not just a job.
Okay. You know, everybody knows that COVID hit your industry very hard, like it did a few others as well. You've come out of it, much better than expected, and of course, consumers are revenge consuming, I would think. Having said that, do you see this pattern continuing, or do you see a plateau in 2024 simply because there are signs of a slowdown globally, trickle effect in India, inflation, input prices going up, disposable incomes coming down? I'm just giving you the macroeconomic factors. Is there any sign at all that this space is going to see a little bit of a dampening?
If there's a slowdown happening, we've not seen it at all. We find Indian consumers going out more than ever before. We find them premiumizing their choices. We find them upgrading their choices. They want better quality experiences. They want newer experiences. They demand constant innovation, and they demand value for money. So it is challenging, yes, but I think India is on a very completely different trajectory than the rest of the world. We're just getting started. Like I said, our population, which is in the socializing age, like we were speaking about earlier, is phenomenal. If you're looking at least 100 million people who's our target audience that is wanting to go out, is wanting to socialize, wanting to meet different people, and this is unprecedented anywhere else in the world, right? So yes, there are global headwinds, but the India tailwinds are phenomenal.
Heartening to hear. Now, when you talk about just social, right, and that kind of 50 already looking to hit 200 in a few years, you're obviously looking at the casual dining segment very seriously. Can you give me a sense of, in your business, the different categories and which is the high growth category here? I'm assuming it's casual dining since you're investing so much in it.
Yes, so I think you could break up the entire food services segment into 4 distinct categories. One is your delivery only or your ghost kitchen businesses. Then you have the QSRs, which on an average APC or average per cover or average order value is in the 500 rupee range, up to 500. So anywhere between 180 to 500 would be a QSR kind of a price range. The casual dining set starts off at about 500 and goes all the way till about 2,000 rupees. And then fine dining starts from 2,000 above. The largest chunk of this food services business is in the casual dining segment. So a casual dining business is about 5x the size of QSR business, and it's also growing at a much rapid rate. So as India's affluence grows and as double income households grow, casual dining we feel is the biggest opportunity simply because it is, like I said, 5 times that of QSR, and it's also growing at a faster rate. And we are seeing people all over India upgrading their lifestyles and wanting to have a better product. And I think we are uniquely placed as one of the largest unlisted food services companies to take advantage of that and perhaps even try and consolidate the casual dining space.
So I'm picturing basically by your definition of casual dining and the growth it's kind of seeing, that it is basically India's belly, right, which would occupy that casual
middle of
dining
the pyramid,
space.
yes.
Middle of the pyramid, right? When I talk to other heads of companies across categories, everybody is talking about premiumization because that top India seems to be giving them much more bang for the buck. And of course, mass is important, but they're focusing on premium. Why is it that in this business, is there also a focus to capture that fine dining space to look at that top of that pyramid and milk that?
So I think that yes, India is premiumizing, and the top of the pyramid is pretty much recession proof in India, is doing really well. However, we see a really, really great opportunity available for us in the market that is aspirational, is just beginning to enjoy a lifestyle that they've always aspired for. They've got the jobs, they've got they've worked hard, and now they want to enjoy the fruits of labor. So we really are really well placed to capture the emerging India, which also means tier 2 and very soon the tier 3 population.
Okay, so you had at one point said that there are about 60 or 70 prime locations in India where you get the maximum return of your investment. After that, everything is suboptimal. Does that statement still hold?
So there is, I would say that has gone to about 80 to 90 locations, which are the prime locations. The Khan markets, the linking roads, the MG roads of the world. However, what is really, really heartening to see is the rise of these micro economies that are taking place in urban India, where people want to work and live and go out in those little catchments. So we are seeing a phenomenal growth in that. Like we're seeing, like Hyderabad is really kind of doubling in size. Bangalore has just grown exponentially all the way to the airport. Mumbai is set to grow, Navi Mumbai and beyond now. We are going to get the western seaboard also coming into India, so into Bombay. So there's a lot of growth opportunities. So while the marquee locations will continue to remain marquee, the real growth is now happening in these micro communities where people are looking for good quality restaurants in their own neighborhood.
Riyaaz, right now, can you give me a sense of Impresario's total revenue at the moment, or what you'll close at?
So we are slated to close 23-24 at about 700 crores in terms of net sales. These are not our gross sales, and we are in early double digits in terms of profitability at a corporate level.
And social would be your jewel crown there at a
Social is definitely the most scaled brand right now, and right now it's got a product market fit. And as India continues to evolve and grow further affluent, we have a few
tricks up your sleeve.
Yeah, we do have a few more brands which we've created,
Care to share?
We've tested. Look, I would, I know that I'll be benchmarked against it 1 year later, and it is a dynamic market. We have some boutique brands that we've created. We have Smokehouse Delhi, we have Bandra Bon, Saltwater Cafe, Slink and Bardo. All these brands which we are seeing, which are really like working in the premium segment in urban towns, and there's going to be a huge demand for it. So while social will be our most scaled and most ubiquitous brand, we will also be building other scalable brands where we see the market turn. So we've seen the Indian consumption journey.
Yeah.
We've been in cafes, we've been in fine dining, we've been in casual dining. So as of now, the market is the tailwinds are firmly in the CDR space. But as India premiumizes, there's no reason why we will not have more premium brands and create brands for us to venture into tier 3 cities as well. Because I think that while you're mentioning that the top tier has all the money, the most underserviced business in the Indian food services is the tier 3 towns. So
do they have the money?
They definitely have disposable income. An aspiration is catching up. They need to get critical mass for it, but I definitely see that happening in the next 2-3 years. I think we'll be ready to explore our first tier 3, and I'm pretty confident we'll do rather well there.
Yeah. You have been always bold to talk about the delivery aggregators in the country, and talking about, of course, the Swiggy and Zomatos of the world. And you've talked about the fact that how 55 to 60% of your margins are getting squeezed with this whole delivery platform. But you still have to be there. So is there something that you're doing to ensure that you don't need the aggregator? For instance, you've talked about working with ONDC, but also your own delivery systems to make that delivery part of the business less dependent on aggregators like this who are cutting into margins.
You are perhaps referring to my role as the president of the
Yes.
Restaurant Association.
Yeah.
Well, as at that point in time, as leader of the Restaurant Association, we try and further the interests of the restaurant community, because that is our sole objective. And a lot of people were feeling pain points, and as a group, the smaller restaurateur was not able to get the best, deals from the larger players who are very well funded. So it had become our role and our job to stop the tyranny and to have conversation. And I'm very happy to say that a few years later we've had many fights, but we've also had many conversations. We've streamlined a few pain points, and we're working on streamlining a few more. Is the balance tilted, towards the larger players and tilted away from the smaller players? Yes, very much so. They don't have that muscle power, and I think as the association, it was our job to fight for the little guy. And I'm no longer the president of the restaurant association.
It's okay, you're still
I am
a seasoned
now,
and experienced restaurant.
I think the conversation continues, but we are definitely in a better place than we were before. Yes, there are still lots of issues where we are not allowed to kind of, know our customers. We're not able to remarket to them. We are paying ridiculously high delivery fees. We are paying a lot of commissions for delivery, discovery and discounting. And we will continue pushing to find a level where we can all coexist and all thrive, because I don't think one can do well without the other, right? I think restaurants can do well without aggregators, but the aggregators definitely can't do much without restaurants. So
you're saying the power is tilted towards you?
So the power should be tilted towards
Okay.
us is what I'm saying. And having a united front and having a conversation. And we are getting heard, and to the credit of the aggregators, they are delivering wherever they can. But there's always going to be some degree of tension
Sure.
in this.
Sure. But you've also talked about setting up a direct delivery platform with your own consumer, right? And making that whole experience more seamless. How are you going about that?
So we're very clear. We are an omni-channel business. We want to be wherever the customers are. If the customer sees a post on Instagram and really likes what they see and is feels hungry and has a hankering for that dish, we should be available for them to order that dish from Instagram. If they see something on YouTube, we should be available for them to order there. If the customer is on Zomato and is or on Swiggy trying to figure out what they want to eat, we should be there. And if the customer knows exactly what he wants to order from whom and just wants to do it on WhatsApp, we're going to be there. So we're going to be wherever the customer is. We're going to use all platforms available to us to grow our business.
Is there a reason you think, because India is suddenly emerging, across categories on the world map, is there a reason why India lacks Michelin star restaurants?
Michelin star is not in India yet. I mean, they haven't brought their thing yet. If you're talking about Michelin stars as one criteria to gauge the quality of offering, I think that Indian food is really now staking its claim on the world map, and even in India, I think there are some fantastic Indian restaurants which are making us proud on the world's 50 best lists.
No,
There are
fair
some
enough,
bars.
but why not Michelin stars?
I don't think they've really come to a stage where their marketing has turned their attention to India when it comes to Michelin star. And I actually feel sorry for a European who has to come in and judge Indian food, because our palates are so much more evolved than European palates, which is a fact. I mean, European palates are used to maybe 4 or 5 ingredients in a dish, and at 25 different masalas, we're just getting started in India. So I don't think the palates are that evolved or experienced to even come and judge Indian food, because just the nuances and the complexity and the depth and the flavors and the techniques that are available in India, it cannot be it cannot be comprehended by a Western mind as of now.
So you're saying while the world has woken up to India's potential and India's story, Michelin star is yet to open its eyes to kind of come here and set pace and look at our quality here.
Yeah, I think for the longest time, I think Michelin star was very influenced by French style of cooking, right? And there's a whole other universe out there, and they're welcome to come here and get to know what real food is.
Okay. Before I end this interview, I want to ask you one question and play a rapid fire with you. You know, you had said that in the future, you envision a restaurant like a television channel, right? Where you give food for free because the advertising pays for it. Talk to me a little bit about that concept, because it's wonderful for me to go into a restaurant and eat for free. But how does that work? And is this, you know, are we being a bit dreamy here in our vision, or is it actually a possibility?
I think it's definitely a possibility, given that, you know, advertisers are struggling for a quantum of consumers' attention.
Yeah.
I think viewership is measured in seconds and not, you know, like how it used to be earlier, where we're doom scrolling.
Absolutely.
I think there is in a restaurant, we've been seeing this, that this is where behavior modification can occur, where you can actually put a product into the hands of a consumer to touch, to feel, to taste, to smell. Right? So there's all this kind of content which is coming in, which is, you know, takes production of millions, and it works on advertising. And so where you have a customer for 1.5 hours, 2 hours, you have them, and you have a capability of engaging with them in a scenario. Why can't it become a media space?
So is this something you're exploring at social?
I'm just, you know, looking into where it could go in the future. As somebody who's been in the industry, understands it a little bit, I kind of think about what the future of this is.
Sure, sure. Okay, now before I let you go, playing a quick rapid fire, please be crisp and candid, like I believe you already are.
It always gets me into trouble.
We'd like that. It's December, people will forget when they come back from the holiday season. So, one mistake one big blunder you've made.
In restauranting?
In the restauranting.
I think building restaurants for my ego rather than building restaurants for what my customer wants. And building it more for me than building it for the customer.
Which was this?
When we were maybe 12, 13 years ago, we had this restaurant called Smokehouse Room. And it was a big cathedral to, you know, look what we can do, look how advanced we are, look how forward we are, look how progressive we are. And it didn't have any resonance. I think that, but the good thing is that we learned our lessons, and we came back and we said that instead of, you know, pleasing to going for an audience which is 0.5% of India, which anyway doesn't really fully get it or appreciate it, why don't we go after and get the love as wide an audience as possible? But that's when we came with social. So I think that, you know, these are all kind of, you stumble along the way and you have learnings and you move on.
Riyaaz in 2014 versus Riyaaz in 2023.
As enthusiastic and as inexperienced as ever.
What does success do to you?
It is very, very humbling, I think.
Hey, this you're talking as if you're in a pageant, yeah.
No, I think you do tend to appreciate, you know, especially you've seen like your people you started off your careers with, and you feel humbled, you feel lucky
You get
to be
arrogant?
where you are. There was a stage in my career, like I said, like 14 years ago, where I had become very arrogant about, but you learn that this is not a forgiving business, and especially in a challenging market. We've seen ups and downs, we've seen the COVID, you know, we know how quickly one can get displaced from their high and mighty perches, and what it takes to build back, and what the contribution of your team is to help you fight through a tough situation. So
That was a lovely answer, Riyaaz. What's your favorite dish?
depends on the context, actually. Okay, I know you don't want to depend. Dal chawal, Parsi dal chawal made by my mother. Yes.
Okay. Your favorite dish in a social?
My favorite dish in a social is definitely the keema pav. I
Keema
love
pav.
the keema pav.
One thing as a restaurateur you have that others don't.
A really, really great team. I do. I have the best team in the country. So,
Okay.
sorry everybody else.
Will you go public?
Yes, I mean, that is the plan. We are working towards it. That is definitely one of the goals for the company, but that is not the only goal for the company.
After social, which is the brand that you think has the most potential to grow in your stable?
We got Slink and Bardo, we've got Bandra Born.
No, you
we've created what?
I'm saying one brand apart from social that you see as the most potential to grow.
There's phenomenal potential in every direction, like I said.
If you were not doing this in your life, what would you be doing?
I think maybe I would have taken up architecture or design, interior design.
Okay, fair enough. I think this has not been a rapid fire, hence you don't get the hamper because it's been very paragraphish your answers, but thank you so much for being candid nevertheless, and some really good beauty pageant answers also coming out of there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Riyaaz. It's been a pleasure. You've really opened our eyes to different insights in the restaurant and F&B space. Thank you for your time and more power to you and of course your social growth.
Thank you so much, Amlani. I appreciate it.
Thank you.